So the paper is about analyzing social interactions. And that means that for qualitative scholars who are conducting interviews, and especially for those who have observational materials such as team meetings or management meetings or informal interactions or organizational events, stuff like that, that they collect in their research. Our paper offers multiple pathways for analysis that allow the qualitative scholars to inductively drill in and take out different interpretive understandings, and I think is aimed to allow more of an interpretive wealth, you can say. The paper, just to say very briefly, the paper contains a matrix of 4 by 5, so 4 dimensions of analysis: content, communication patterns, emotions, and roles, over 5 levels of analysis. So it's the individual level, the dyad level, the group, the organization, and society. So just to briefly elaborate about that, we assume that interaction is more than just what we're talking about right now. It's not just about content. It's also about how we communicate, the emotions that are there, the roles that we take or that people give us. And we also assume that as we are interacting, different social levels are there at the same time. So, for example, if we take our own interaction at the moment, there is the content of our conversation, right? So we're talking about our paper. If we take what we have here at the moment, so there are the particular persons that are here in the interaction, each of us coming from our own worlds and bringing it with us to the interaction. There are the dyadic dimension, and so, for example, Avital and I have known each other for a long time, and we're working together, and that can affect, what's going on within the interaction. And there is the group dimension, so all of us together and what is occurring within the interaction. There is the organizational level. So, for example, we're conducting this interview in the context of ORM is the organization, and there are probably do's and don'ts or certain taken for granted understandings within this organizational sphere that enter our interaction. And there's the cultural, social, broader sphere that is there and that is also guiding us, even if we're not aware of that, or maybe we can resist certain things that are there in the societal sphere. But this societal sphere also enters our conversation or our interaction. So the framework tries to capture all that, and we locate these 4 dimensions of analysis and 5 levels of analysis in this matrix when the intersection between each dimension and level creates a particular cell. In this intersection of level and dimension, we offer in the paper empirical markers for scholars to build on when they analyze their material. For example, analyzing emotions at the individual level involves looking at emotionally charged vocabularies, nonverbal vocalization, such as laughter or crying or speech rate or tone of voice, among others. And analyzing emotions at the group level involves other things like repeated expressions of these things that I mentioned among participants, but also following emotional tones as they change over time, the ways emotion rules are expressed, etc. So this is just to give a taste of the different empirical markers for every intersection between dimension of interaction and level of analysis. And lastly, I just want to mention that within our framework, we also offer principles for analysis, 3 principles. First of all, the idea that interaction is dynamic, so it changes from moment to moment, and therefore As we follow the different dimensions of interaction, um, we suggest following the way these dimensions change from turn to turn. For example, how does content change when it moves from one turn to the next of the interaction? Or in what way do communication patterns or emotional expressions change along time as the interaction unfolds? The second principle is the idea that interactions have results, have consequences. So we offer scholars not to only track the process of the interaction, but also the consequences of the interaction. What happens at the end of a certain interaction? What type of mutual understanding do we form? What type of emotion rules are established at the end of the interaction, etc. And the last principle, or the third principle, is the idea that within the interaction, there are multiple modalities that we need to take into account and see how these multiple modalities are involved within interaction. For example, the way the room is designed, the way people's bodies move within the room or are positioned vis-a-vis each other, etc.